痛いよ、Nami。話してよ。
チャンネル登録してね。
Card Kaizoku.
This video is sponsored by Garden. Check out their new exclusive Joker playmats, now available for pre-order in full color and one in sleek black and white at nengarden.com. They're having a holiday sale right now with 25% off items. This stacks with my affiliate code card Kaizoku for an additional 5% off. This video is sponsored by gumgum.gg. Discover the latest OP10 deck list on gumgum.gg, updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. So they've revealed a lot of new cards coming out in EB02, that's Extra Booster 2, that's not coming out for us for a while until after OP10. But yeah, I was waiting until like the whole set was revealed before making a video, but I think I have to make it now. There's just so many good things in EB02. Similarly, EB01 had a lot of good stuff too, so this is a set that we expect to like boost a lot of old decks, much like how EB01 did, right? EB01 had hard hitters like, I can just show you, right? This Kid Killer was a really good card for red. This Chopper and Zuro, Yamato for Odin here, also Izo for Odin, Cavendish, and then Apu, Hiyori, Sanji. These are all cards that were used. In blue, we have like the 7 Warlords Weevil. This is in Buggy. Purple, not too much, but Spandai, right? That's a core card in Lucci, Brook, Laboon, Finger Pistol, T-Bone, Flampe, right? That's a commonly used card in all yellow decks. And Raigo 2, Kingdom Come, yeah, of course Mr. 2, and then the Shirahoshi. So we can expect the same level of utility in EB02. And yeah, so far from what they've shown, it seems to be the case. So I'm just gonna highlight some, and then I'll have my deck search tool here that I built out to help illustrate that. So first card. Well, it's a cycle of cards. There's one of these in each color. It's a 2-cost event that lets you search the top 4 cards of your deck for any 4-cost or more card. And then, yeah, you add it to your hand, and on trigger, you activate this main effect. So it's an event searcher for every color, and it searches generically for any 4-drop or higher. A lot of people were speculating that it would increase the efficacy of cards like Gecko Moria, right? They're currently outside of a Perona deck that has like the green Thriller Bark searchers. There's no way to search for this card. But now with events like this, Map of the Heart, Kokoro no Chizu, you can search this Gecko Moria with an event that does increase the consistency of decks like Lucci and then Purple Black Luffy. But yeah, a 2-cost event searcher is kind of steep compared to the 1-cost event searchers that currently are being used, and decks hardly ever use those as well. So we'll have to see if this actually ever makes a difference in how people build their decks. A lot of people are overrating this card. I'm probably going to side on underrating it. And then maybe I'll be wrong in the end and it'll be funny, right? You gotta have somebody as an op, so I'll be your op. And then up next we'll just go in order of color. So in red, new 2020 Chopper card, 3-cost 3k power, Dawn ×2 on your opponent's turn. This character gets plus 2000 power. Then on play, if your leader has a Straw Hat Crew type, give up to one of your leaders or characters 1 rested Dawn. So this is obviously a Zuro card. Can also be a starter deck 21 Luffy card, right? Because in the current Zuro builds, here, let's take a look at Zoro. If you give a rested Dawn to your leader, it activates his leader ability. All your characters get plus 1k power. And then if you look at the animals, there's some good ones. And then we want red. So mainly this OP04 Chopper. On play up to 1 animal type character with the power 3000 or less from your hand. This works perfectly with that Chopper because he does only have 3000 power, right? The other Chopper cards can't be cheated out with this Chopper, right? This Chopper was relegated to cheating out Hiking Bear only, and I guess the blocker Chopper. And then in a Chopper deck, you can play out Lapon, but with this new 3k Chopper now, we have another option to cheat out with that. And then, yeah, he gives Dawn to your leader, so it activates your leader ability the turn that you cheat this guy out. So yeah, I think this is a really great option for a Zuro deck. And then also, I think this Dawn ×2 on your opponent's turn part is relevant for starter deck 21 Luffy, because what he does is, if he has 1 Dawn on the leader character, on activate main, you can once per turn give one of your characters 2 rested Dawn cards. So that works too, right? This Chopper gives 1 Dawn to the Luffy leader, and then Luffy gives 2 Dawn to this Chopper. He becomes a 5k and remains a 5k. But yeah, honestly, I think the Zoro deck uses this card a lot better. Up next, we have a new Yamato card, so 6-cost 7k power. Activate main once per turn. If your leader has the land of Wano type or is Ace, give it to 1 rested Dawn to your leader, then this character gains rush during this turn. So I don't think it's for Ace. We can take a look at Ace, the leader. right? Because he doesn't require having a Dawn on leader to do anything, because his deck is based on like events and stage cards, discarding it to give extra power. But it does benefit Odin really well, I feel. So Odin gives all your Land of Wano cards 1k counter if they don't have counter, and then Dawn times 1 when attacking. If you have a 5 or greater cost Land of Wano character in play, this leader gets plus 1k power to the start of your next turn. So it becomes a 6k base, right? And then this Yamato is a 6 cost, so it's already greater than 5. Yamato puts the Dawn on Odin, so Yamato can swing 7 with Rush, and then your leader can swing 7 with Rush, right? 1 Dawn plus the 1k buff from his leader ability. So 6 Dawn turn, swing 7k twice, that seems really strong. This is a great addition for Odin, actually. You also see Rev Army buff too, this new Sabo card. So it's a 2k counter, and then activate main, you can rest this character, give it to one of your Rev Army characters other than Sabo, plus 2k power during this turn. Then he himself, 4 cost 5k power, like the bare minimum stat line for a good Rev Army type card. The only downside is that he doesn't have like a trigger that like plays himself out for free. But yeah, if you take a look at the Rev Army cards, so it's for a Bello Betty deck for sure. A lot of the Rev Army cards, once they're at 7k power, they do get extra effects. Like this Karasu can give minus 1k power to a leader when he attacks. If he's a 7k, this Ivankov can shoot out another Rev Army card with 5000 power or less from your hand when he's a 7k. But mostly since he's a 2k, that makes it so that we're allowed to run all Revolutionary Army type cards in our deck, because we have to discard a Rev Army type card to activate Bello Betty's leader ability. At the moment for the deck, we do kind of have to run this promo Yellow Sabo, and he's not even out in English as of the recording of this video. We don't know how we're going to get him, besides the Best of Collection Volume 3, but yeah. This is like the best that we've got to have a full Rev Army 2k counter package, and he's a 5 cost 5k power, and then he makes you take a life and you gain 1000 power for that. It's not as good as the Sabo that we saw in EB02, right? This is 4 cost 5k, same stat line, 1 cost cheaper, and then he can also buff something else for 2k. That's a lot better. So this helps us fill out that 2k counter slot in a Bello Betty deck. There's also a new Bonnie card, so Bonnie 7 cost 7k power. On play, up to one of your opponent's rested characters will not become active during your opponent's next refresh phase, and then at the end of your turn, set up to one of your Dawn is active. So this is obviously a Bonnie card. Take a look at all the supernovas in green. So Bonnie, when your opponent attacks once per turn, if you pay a Dawn, you can rest up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters. That 7 cost Bonnie gives you that Dawn to use this leader ability with. And then it also is similar to this 5 cost Bonnie, right? This 5 cost Bonnie also keeps a rested character or even a Dawn from refreshing on their next refresh phase. So I think this does make it so that going first with Bonnie is the ideal curve, right? So first turn you'll play the Searcher Bonnie. This one, 3 Dawn turn you can search with it, and then you have 2 Dawn to do whatever you want. I guess you can swing 7 or something. Is there like a better 2-drop play? Probably not. Or I guess you could play a blocker killer? I don't know. And then 5 Dawn turn, you play this Bonnie, keep something rested. 7 Dawn turn, you'll play this Bonnie, keep something rested, have Dawn up to use leader ability to keep other stuff rested. And then this curves really well into your 9 Dawn turn, because then you can go and play 8 cost kid and still have a Dawn up to use for his effect. If you're going evens, you play this guy out on curve, you don't have access to the Dawn times 1 opponent's turn. If this character is rested, your opponent cannot attack anything other than character's name used as Captain Kid, right? If you're going odds, you do have that Dawn to use for this kid. You can cheat out a blocker too, or even if you have that killer from earlier, you have another blocker on top of that. So I think that's pretty good for Bonnie. Up next, we have a new Buggy character. So on play, if you do not have another Buggy character in play, up to one of your leaders gains double attack until the end of the turn. Then on trigger, you can rest up to one of your opponent's 4 cost or less characters. So it's a generic card, it's not leader locked. You have to be green though, but yeah, if you don't have another Buggy character in play, which is not hard, there's not too many good Buggy characters in green anyway. Your leader gains double attack. The leaders that stood out to me, well, we'll just take a look real quick. Green leaders, so of course, Kuro. Kuro is one option. Activate main. If you pay 3 Dawn, you can rest up to 2 of your East Blue type characters, which this Buggy is one of. Set this leader as active and rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So yeah, you'll play the Buggy, give this leader double attack. He can attack for 8k with double attack, and then you can use his ability to rest the Buggy and then another East Blue type card you have. Untap this guy and attack 8k again with double attack. And you can even rest a 5 cost blocker this way. But then yeah, in this case, the opponent would have blocked the first hit. But yeah, it's a way to do 8k, double attack twice, quadruple attack. Another option is Arlong. Arlong would be good with him. So Dawn times 2 when attacking. If you pay a Dawn, you can play up to 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less with trigger from your hand. That Buggy is a 4 cost or less, and he did have a trigger, so it's perfect. And then once the Buggy comes out, it gives this Arlong double attack. So you're attacking for 7k with a double attack on your 3 Dawn turn. Right, it's pretty devastating early on. It's also great in starter deck 2 kid, of course. Right, he has the same effect as Kuro, but it's a lot more flexible. For 3 Dawn, activate main, you can trash a card from your hand and then set the leader as active. So you can still do 8k, double attack twice, but you don't need to have East Blue type characters on board, you just have to discard a card in hand to do it. So yeah, I actually think this is a big boost for these leaders. The biggest winner probably is Kid, right? Because it's so generic and it's so easy for him to activate this effect. So it could make him relevant again, right? We have that new Bonnie that this Kid can use as well. Basically, any new Supernova support that Bonnie gets, Kid also enjoys. Maybe not to a greater degree, because that one refresh Dawn helps the Bonnie more, but yeah, still a buff to both decks. There's also a new leader. I won't go into this card in too much depth, but it's a green, purple Straw Hat leader, and it has to do with having Straw Hat crew type characters in play. Only Straw Hat crew type characters in play, but luckily for us, if we took a look at Straw Hat, in green and purple, there's a plethora of Straw Hat options to choose from. So we have the whole film package in green here. That's always good. Like Luffy and Brook cheat out other characters. And then in purple, we also have the starter deck package, right? We have Luffy Taro, where is he at? Luffy Taro, Zorojiro, Sangoro. This is like currently meta. So if you combine these cards with the green cards, you can only assume how strong of a package you can play in a green-purple Luffy deck. And then his leader ability gives him the ability to be a 6k base until your opponent's next turn too. So it's great value all around, I feel. There's even support printed in this set. There's this Nami that searches for a Straw Hat crew type character in green, right? It's a green searcher for the deck. There's also this new Zoro character. So if your opponent has 2 or more characters on the field, this character can attack characters on the turn that it's played. So it has like pseudo rush. Then on play, if your leader has a Straw Hat crew type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So yeah, in that Luffy deck, or even in like, I think this card is better in the Zoro and Sanji deck, right? This guy, because you can attack with them twice if your opponent defends your attacks. So on your 5-down turn, you can play out the Zoro, put it down on leader. Zoro can rest one of your opponent's characters because yeah, this is a Straw Hat crew type leader. You'll attack 5k into it. If they defend with the 1k, then you'll swing 6k into it with this Zoro and Sanji, bounce one of your other characters that you played in the past back to your hand to untap your Zoro. So they have to defend the 6k and then they have to defend another 5k from this Zoro. So yeah, could rip a lot of cards out of their hand. Helps stave off a lot of aggression too, right? You can starve your opponent early or just get rid of their characters because they don't want to be starved. There's also this Usopp. So on play, if you have 2 or fewer characters with 5,000 power or more in play, play up to 1 power 6,000 or lower character from your hand that has no abilities. So it's a 4-cost 5k that cheats out of Vanilla. Vanilla 4-cost 6k. This is a buff for this guy, Sanji, right? Once per turn, when you play a character without an effect from your hand, if you have 3 or less characters in play, set up to 2 if your Dawn is active, right? It lets you play that Usopp and then play a 4-drop Vanilla that you run in this deck anyway, and then it frees you up 2 Dawn to attack with the leader for 7. It's not like what fixes the deck, but at least it's some support, some new support for the deck. I guess you can run this in Zoro and Sanji too, just to flood the board with characters that can swing, or just even play like another character that you can bounce back to your hand to untap your character, right? It's 6,000 power or less, doesn't have to be a full 6k, but then you're running like a 2-cost Vanilla. I don't think you want to do that. There's also this new Nefatari VV card, so 3-cost, 2k power, 1k counter on play. If your leader is multicolored and you have 5 or less cards in hand, draw 2 cards. So it's basically Sanji's peel off in a character card with counter value. I think that's pretty good, but yeah, it's a lot more restrictive. Your leader has to be multicolored and you have to have 5 or less cards in hand. If you take a look at all the blue leaders, so you have to be multicolored. It could be used for Vivi, I guess, the Vivi deck itself, but Vivi herself draws a card, so you'll never have low cards in hand. So who's it actually for? Which deck likes to chuck cards from hand? Probably this Zoro and Sanji, right? You're just pooping out bodies and then attacking with stuff and having to bounce cards back to hand. That VV can be bounced back to hand, right? 2 or higher character. That VV was a 3-cost, so you bounce VV back to hand. You could draw 2 cards on a future turn again, right? It's a reusable card in that Zoro and Sanji deck. Who else could use it? I don't think anybody else really discards too many cards in hand. I guess Queen could use it pretty well. Queen likes having a low hand size anyway in the late game, and you can just play it out to refill your hand. There's also a new Iceberg character, so on play, if there are 3 or more Dawn cards on your field, look at the top 7 cards from your deck, reveal to 1 Golly Law Company stage card and add to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then play a Golly Law from your hand. So yeah, basically it's like 4 extra copies of the stage. But this guy is a 2k counter too, so you run him anyway. If you want to know what the stage does, one sec. I should have like a button that clears all the filters. I'll add that after recording this video. So it's a 3-cost stage card that when you activate main, you can ramp 1 rested Dawn if your leader's Iceberg. So this is a 1 Dawn or 2 Dawn discount, right? You're playing 1 Dawn for a 2k counter to cheat the stage out. It does help with the consistency of playing this deck because the Iceberg deck, you do have to minus Dawn quite a bit to play out your characters, and then the leader himself can't attack, so ramping to your late game is like your advantage over other leaders. So yeah, it's a small buff, I think. I don't know if it'll fix the deck, but we'll have to see. I think it just needs more like actual characters to play, some better ones. right? Because what we got last time was this Khalifa, and then there was like a Bluno, who's actually not a Galley Law Company character anyway. Right, what is he? He's a water 7, so yeah. Some more 4 and 5 drops, please. There's also a new Niik Robin card, so it's a 3 cost 2k power chump blocker, even as counter, and then on KO, if you down -1, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, move up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type card, put it into your hand. So it's a search blocker on death. It's kind of like Perospero, right? The yellow Perospero in the Katakuri deck, but a lot more useful, right? Because she can just block and then draw you a card. When you're at 10 Dawn, 9 Dawn, it doesn't matter. If you down -1, you'll get it back anyway. And yeah, key cards you could get with this Robin, of course, is Gum Gum Giant, right? You block and attack this turn, you have an event to potentially counter for more if your opponent has more attacks to throw at you. So it's always a great idea to leave a Dawn up if you have a Robin out. And of course, you could find like a 2k counter or just, yeah, a lot more defensive options. It replaces itself, right? The Robin card. And yeah, it can be cheated out with Luffy Taro. So I don't think it's too much of a detriment to run this card at all, right? You just run this over the 2 cost chump blocker Robin that people already run anyway. This just has more utility on top of that for having 1 cost more. There's also this new Law. So 5 cost 6k power. He's a blocker, which is a great stat line to be at. 6k blocker, and then on play, you can return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Choose one of the following, draw a card, or if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, they discard her from the hand. So this is really amazing. It's a utility, great generic blocker in the first place, and then you're always going to have cards to return to the bottom of your deck in any order anyway. So yeah, basically it's a blocker that draws you a card, or it mills a card from your opponent's hand. So actually, I think this is really, really strong. It probably works the best in an Usopp deck, but I think any black deck can just run this card, right? It might even be an auto include. It would have to compete with Sabo, and Sabo is more relevant in a meta where KO is more prevalent, but without KO around, yeah, I think this Law is a lot better. He's an SR too, so it makes sense why he's so good. There's also this Brook. I don't know how this Brook is going to be used, because on play, you can add a Laboon from trash to your hand, and then on KO, you can play a 4 cost or lower Laboon from your hand. So yeah, that's mainly this guy here, Laboon, this 4-drop, or there's more. You can play the vanilla, I guess, but I think you want to go for this guy. Because when you rest him, you can give it to one of your opponent's characters minus 4 cost for the turn. Now, the peculiar thing is that the deck that uses Laboon the most at the moment is Blackbeard, but if you're playing Blackbeard, you can't have access to on-play, so you can't pull that Laboon from your trash. But you do still have access to the on-KO, so I don't know if it's still worth it just for that part. But he himself is not a Blackbeard Pirates character, because he's broke, so I don't know. Not sure where this guy belongs. There's also a new Garp character, which actually is a buff for the red-black Garp deck. That's pretty crazy seeing support for that guy like a year later. So on play, give your leader up to 2 rested Dawn cards and then activate main. You can rest this character. If your leader is Monkey D Garp, key up to one of your opponent's cost 1 or lower characters. So in case you forgot what Garp does, right, on your turn when you attach Dawn to this leader or one of your characters, you can give one of your opponent's 7 cost or lower characters minus 1 cost. So that Garp, allowing you to put 2 Dawn on this Garp leader, gives you minus 2 cost. You can KO a 2 cost that way, right? Because after that, he KOs 1 cost or lower. Oh, so you can KO a 3 cost, right? 3 cost minus 2 is a 1 cost. And then I guess you could combine it with, how am I going to query this? So give rested Dawn. I believe the Dawn shufflers, it's like 1 Dawn max, right? Here's 1 with Haruta, 1 with Nami, 1 with Koala. Yeah. So you can kill a 4-drop if you have one of these out the turn prior, right? So it's 2 Dawn from the Garp character, 1 Dawn from Nami or Koala or Haruta, and then your leader can give minus 3 cost total and then KO a 4 cost with this Garp, which is great, right? And since it's your 5 Dawn turn, I guess you could have played multiples of these. There's also this Nami card that I thought would have been great, but then I realized it's type locked to Straw Hat Crew type leaders and characters only, so never mind. It gives 2 rested Dawn, so you could have killed a 5-drop that way, but you can't. There's also this Sengoku character, so he's a blocker, and then on play up to 1 black Navy type character with a cost of 4 or less from your trash rested. He himself is a 7 cost 7k power, basically like Luffy Taro, but plays from your trash, so like you keep card advantage in hand. Black Navy type with the cost of 4, so let's take a look at what those look like. Navy, cost of 4, black. So yeah, you could play Kuzan from your discard and draw a card. So you have a 7 cost 7k blocker, you have a 4 cost 5k attacker that can give minus 4 cost on the next turn, and he draws you a card the turn that you play him. Blocker is good, Porcelino, right? He has 6k on your opponent's turn, and then he's immune to KO. What else? Everything else is pretty meh. Does Hina do anything? Oh, I guess you could use Hina and give 1 rested Dawn to your character or leader. But yeah, I guess that's it. Right, if you do play the Hina, you could put that rested Dawn on leader and then give minus 1 cost to something if you really need it. And then we have 10 cost Enel. It's a new Enel character. If your leader has a Sky Island type, this character gains Rush. Then when attacking, you can trash 1 card from your hand. If your life has 1 or less cards, you can place up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life. Then this character gets plus 1000 power for the turn. So yeah, essentially a 10 cost 12k attacker. It's obviously an Enel card for the Enel deck. Right, we can take a look at Sky Island, yellow. So this Enel, right? The reason Enel isn't run too much these days is because he gets hard countered by Blackbeard. 10 cost Blackbeard, that character locks out his leader ability on the turn that you attack him, so it makes it so that he can't like easily use his leader ability to stay alive. It's like the antithesis to his playstyle. This character Enel is a way to heal without having to rely on plays, right? Because before that, they had to depend on this ace card. On play, you can add one card from the top of your deck to your life, and then if you have 2 or less life cards, he gains rush. This Enel is just like strictly better than this ace for a Sky Island type leader, right? For the same cost, Enel is a 12k attack, and then he also doesn't get locked out by Blackbeard because this part isn't an on play that heals you. But you do have to trash a card in hand. That's the trade-off, I guess. But yeah, I think it's well worth it. This card is way better than ace. It's also a card that can be used in Kalgara, because Kalgara is a Sky Island type leader, the only other one at the moment. So Dawn times 1 when attacking, you can put a character... Oh, his leader ability doesn't matter for Enel actually, right? Because he's not a Shandoran warrior, but it does give Kalgara a top end and it lets him heal too. But for sure, it's an Enel card more than it is a Kalgara card. I think for Kalgara, it needs to not be a 10 drop because you do need to leave Dawn up for like your counter events, like the Earth Won't Lose and stuff. So yeah, well, it's yet to be seen if they're going to release like a dedicated late game card for Kalgara. It needs to be like a 9 drop at the max. There's also a new Vega Punk character, so he's a blocker, 5 cost blocker, 0k power, and on play. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, play up to 1 5 cost or lower scientist type character other than a Vega Punk from among them, and then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. If your opponent has 2 characters or less, discard a card. Right, let's look at all the scientists. So it's for this deck for sure. He can't attack, and then if you pay a Dawn, you can either place up to 1 5 cost or less egghead type character on the top of your life face up, or just play it out on board. That new Vega Punk character is a way to 2 for 1, right? This deck doesn't have this kind of effect at the moment, so it just doesn't want to let you be able to swarm too crazily. But yeah, you have a lot of options to pick from. You could pick Lilith to draw you another card. You could pick Shaka to have a blocker, Pythagoras to play another character when he dies. And then Atlas is good too. They can't be KO'd when your opponent's life is higher than yours. And lastly, I just want to go over Sanji. He's a blocker, and then on play, if you have 2 or less life, draw 2 cards and trash a card from your hand. So it's like a queen in yellow. I think this really helps out Enel as well. So another Enel buff. Enel might be meta again, to be honest. Yeah, I left such a generic card for last. I should have ended up with the Vega Punk. But yeah, that's it for EB02. The cards revealed so far as of this is December 28th. There are still more SRs to reveal, and there's still the secret rare that they haven't revealed the effect of. Right? I think it's a Luffy card. They just haven't revealed the effect. Or he might be the SR. Actually, I don't know. But yeah, there's still a lot more left to see. So we're going to have to wait to see what other decks get touched in their rounds of buffs. Right? We saw buffs for Garp. We saw buffs for Green-Blue Sanji, the Green-Blue Zoro and Sanji as well. Zoro buffs. So yeah, just a lot of decks that are sorely in need of a makeover to compete in this current meta. So we'll just have to see what else Bandai has cooking. I'm excited for EB02. I'm gonna pre-order some more boxes now. And yeah, let me know what you think of the video. Any feedback would be appreciated. Let me know what you're excited for in EB02, or if I missed anything too. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like and comment. Check out my channel for other meta content videos and like gameplay videos and like market reviews and then unboxings too. I have a bunch of stuff on my channel. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
Kaizoku.